Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pizza and Pasta with the Poos. What I'm doing today is I'm going to make a keto pizza dough using the King Arthur keto wheat flour. We'll see how it turns out. I saw a video on YouTube of someone doing it, someone I respect a lot in the pizza world, Vito Iacopelli. I'll link his video in the description below. Anyway, what I have here going on so far is 7 grams of yeast, 10 grams of olive oil. Vito suggested using coconut oil, but I do not have any. We have 5 grams of salt, 1 pound or 454 grams of this flour, and 400 grams of lukewarm water that we're going to put into the yeast right now to let them let the yeast activate. So I'm going to actually measure out the water in grams because you want a very high hydration with this flour. So we want 400 grams. I missed by just a little bit, so I'm gonna have to get me some more water. Okay, I topped off the water. We are now at 402 grams of water, which is fine. So we're gonna let this sit here a little bit and let the yeast activate. And then we're gonna put everything together. Okay, so now the yeast and the water has mixed together. The yeast is ready to go. I'm gonna add the olive oil right into the yeast and the water. Mix that together a little bit. Now what we're gonna do, I'm using a stand mixer, makes things a little easier. We're gonna dump the flour in a little bit at a time, on slow. Let it mix a little bit at a time. Let it incorporate a little bit at a time. If you're doing it by hand, you can probably dump all the flour in at once. Not going to make a big difference. But using the machine, let it incorporate a little bit. I hope this comes out good. We're going to see. All right, all the flour's gone. Remember, King Arthur keto wheat flour. I couldn't find it in my local grocery store, so I got it off of Amazon. Not the cheapest thing in the world, but it's not that bad either. So, I mean, I wanted to give it a go. Keto pizza, you know. And it's a pretty fine flour, so it'll be good. I thought I was gonna have to try and grind it up to make it a little finer, but it's already pretty fine. So. In here we have the salt. So we had 10 grams of olive oil, 5 grams of salt, we had 7 grams of yeast, 454 grams of flour, and 400 grams of water. This is a very wet dough. We're gonna have to let it mix for a while, so. We'll come back at you. Okay, after letting it mix for about 5 minutes, I stopped the mixing and I let it rest for roughly 10 minutes. What I'm gonna do now is add in the 5 grams of salt. I'm using sea salt. And I'm gonna mix it again for another 5 minutes. So when you let it rest, you wanna make sure you cover it. Yeah, the dough, since letting it rest, is looking much better now. So yeah, the dough is really coming together now. Before, it looked very, like it wasn't gonna come together. But the reason you let it rest is to let the gluten strengthen, build up. So we're gonna let this run for about 5 minutes. We're gonna ball it up into a big ball and let it rest for about half hour to an hour. I'll be back at you then. Okay, it's done mixing and it came out pretty good. I'm very happy about it so far. Now it is a little sticky still. What we're gonna wanna do is ball it up. So what you wanna do is you wanna add a little olive oil to your hands. Just a little bit. Because like I said, it's gonna be sticky and the olive oil will definitely help that. Because you don't really want to add more flour to it. Because you want it to still be a high hydration. Now just work it a little bit when you can. Wow. This is pretty. Yeah, it's definitely gonna have to rest a little while. So, but I like it so far. It feels good. Let's ball it up. You want to try and make it tight as possible. Now what we're going to do, we're going to add a little olive oil to the top here. So a little more on your hand. And just rub it on. Then you're going to take your cover, just so no air gets at it. Or you can just use a bowl and throw it over the counter. It's gonna grow a little bit, so we're gonna let it rest about a half hour to an hour. And then we're gonna make them into the individual dough balls. I'm hoping to get about 4 balls out of this, dough balls. 2 of them we're gonna do at about 270 grams, and 2 of them we're gonna do at about 150 grams. I think that's what it weighs out to, but we'll see what happens. We're gonna make 2 normal sized ones and 2 small ones, because I want to try and make a thin crust with 2 of them. So till next time, when we go to individually ball them up. Okay, so we let the dough rest about a half hour or so, and now it's time to individually make the individual dough balls. So, like I said, I want to do about 270 to 280 grams. So we're gonna weigh it out on 2 of the dough balls. Not even close. All right, there we go. There's 1. This is pretty light and airy, actually. I'm shocked. That's not even close. Well, there's 2. And let's see how much this one weighs. So this one weighs 320 grams. So I'm gonna do 160. I'm gonna cut it in half, and those will be my small thin crust pizzas. All right, so they're about done. Now what you want to do is just ball them up. Once you ball them up, put them in your container. However you do it. Ooh, these are very airy. There's all different ways to ball up your dough, so then you're gonna let these rest for probably about an hour or so, and then you can either use them or put them in the fridge. Because these are gonna grow, I think, tremendously. All right, those are ready to go. So we're gonna cover them up. And like I said, just let them rest for about an hour or so. We'll see you when it's time to make the pizza. Here is one of the doughs that I'm about to make into a pizza. Look how much air is in that. Okay, the first pizza is done, and if you look, the crust looks nice and airy. A little hard to stretch. The dough's a little tough on this one, but overall came out pretty good, I think. On what do you all think? Now here is the thin crust that I just made. As you can tell, very, very thin. Well, we had the keto pizza. It was okay. The regular crust, like a New York style crust, I didn't really care for it too much. The texture was a little strange. The thin crust now, that was okay. That was doable. So if you're somebody that needs to watch their carbohydrates and the sugars and that, and you're looking for a pizza dough, this one's not too bad as long as you make it into a thin crust. I used a rolling pin and rolled it out real thin. So that's basically how you got to do it, I think. Other than that, I wouldn't suggest it. I'm not a big fan of whole wheat, and it does have a big whole wheat flavor, but all in all, it wasn't too bad. So if you want, give it a try. I had fun trying to make it. I hope you enjoyed this video, which I'm not too good at anyway. But take care, enjoy, and don't forget, pizza is life. Pasta is life. Food is life. You need food to survive, right? So you have to enjoy what you're putting in your mouth. So take care, enjoy, peace.